So I hated the Doge version 1. I mean, I thought that thing was dookie. That's why I called it the Dookie Doge. But then this thing came out, the Doge version 2, and I am absolutely loving this thing. Loving it. She's a fog machine. She's a flavor machine. That's at 20 freaking watts. 20 watts. I mean, that's low for a device like this, a competition RDA, or something that's marketed as being a competition RDA. And with this 26 gauge Kanthal, this build, this 1.3 ohm build at 20 watts, I'm getting full on flavor. It's crazy. Full on flavor. It's a dense vape, and I've got her about the small slot, which you'll see in the close up. It's about half open, halfway open. So now what I've done is I've closed that sucker off, that single air hole slot, closed her off pretty much all the way. Still a chucking, and the flavor bumps, baby. I mean, you close that sucker off, you're going to get full-on flavor. Hoo-hoo, yeah. Oh, and that was at 20 watts as well. Now, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take her up to 30. I'm going to go ahead and take her up to 30 and see what she vapes like. I'm going to keep her closed off pretty much all the way. Ooh, man. A little hot for me, but with her closed off all the way, I mean, the flavor is just hot, dense, full body vape. But the point to all that is I'm able to take this sucker down to 20 watts. I mean, that's super low for a competition RDA, and I'm still getting hellacious flavor. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is pull the single coil out, go and put a dual 24 gauge, 0.4, 0.5-ish ohm build in here, and then come back and vapor. Alrighty, so I got a 0.35 ohm build using the 24 gauge, dual 24 gauge Kanthal. I was actually shooting for like a 0.4, 0.5, but I undershot and went down to 0.35 ohms. No biggie D. But I got her at 0.35 ohms, vaping her at 40 watts. Whoo! Good golly, Miss Molly. I mean, she's fogging it. You see it. Flavor's good. Flavor's actually really good. It's not as good to me as single coil mode using the 26 gauge Kanthal, but all that's subjective. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to dive down. I'm going to show you this thing all close up, how to put it together, how it goes together, all the parts, etc. Then we're going to come back and I'm going to talk about the pros, the cons, and go over the quality control. We'll wrap this sucker up and I'll tell you where you can get one. Here's the box this Doge V2 comes in. On the front you got nice artwork, and then on the back you've got more artwork, slides out like so, more catchy artwork, and then on the back it says, what does it say? Much reward, such victory. And you got a dog with a crown, cool branding, cool marketing. Front flap opens up, and then on the inside you got even more artwork. I mean, this artwork just goes for days, doesn't it? But on the inside, there it is, the Doge V2, along with some extra goodies. And those extra goodies include a flathead screwdriver, 3 O-rings, an extra positive post, stainless steel positive post, extra stainless steel screws, extra copper screws, and extra insulators. And here's the Doge V2 all broken down. You got the deck section, you got the outer barrel, and then you've got the inner barrel / top cap / drip tip section. Alrighty, so here's a close-up of the Doge V2. Now, a few specs for you. This thing is made of 304 stainless steel. Well, the majority of it is made of 304 stainless steel. It is a 22 millimeter dripper, 22 millimeters in width, and then it is about 36 millimeters in height. Drip tip hole, I mean, that is massive, 14 millimeters in diameter. So from here up is the inner sleeve / top cap / drip tip section, and then from here down is not only the outer barrel but the deck section. And look at these massive slots. You got one massive slot on one side, one massive slot on the other, and then you got a smaller slot in here, which we'll go over in a second, for single coilers. Okay, so you can build single coils, dual coils, or quad coils in this device. You see this 1 millimeter air injection hole up here in the top? Okay, that's marketed to cool the vapor and increase the expansion inside the tip. We'll get into all that, but here's the adjustable airflow. Here's how the adjustable airflow works. Okay, you grip it, and then all you do is twist. Close her off, open her up. Easy peasy, what a sleazy. If I want to run this thing in single coil mode, all I'll do is pull out the top cap / inner sleeve / drip tip, just like so, turn it, and there's that small slot. That's for your single coil mode. Just line it up like that, twist it in, and that's single coil mode for you, and that's how to adjust it. And it's blocked off on this side. Close her off all the way if you want. Still blocked off. Close her off more. Still blocked off. Open her up more. Still blocked off. Yep, that's single coil mode for you. And here's the base of this V2. You got engraved at the top much, and then down below you got the serial number 10,014. Here's the copper positive pin. And then of course you got the threads right here. Just like I showed you, the top cap / inner sleeve / drip tip comes out just like so. And here's a close-up of this sucker. Okay, you got the O-ring, the single O-ring at the top, which enables this thing to press fit into the barrel. You got your two massive slots, one on one side, one on the other, and then you got your smaller slot for your single coil mode. You got your air injection hole right here, just like I showed you. Here's the drip tip, wide bore, baby. Inside of this sucker, and then here's the outer barrel. Okay, you got the two massive slots, one on one side, one on the other. Dog. Inside. So the copper screws and the copper positive post you guys see right there is marketed as being lead-free C110 copper. Now, I don't prefer to use copper. I just don't want my juice touching the copper. To each is their own. But the good thing is they give you extra goodies. They give you extra stainless steel screws to use, and they give you an extra stainless steel positive post to use, and you could swap this out, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, unscrew the screws. Now to get this positive post out, okay, right down there you got a peak insulator, you got a 2-piece insulator, a 3-piece if you count the insulator down here. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and unscrew this 510 pin, and then it should pop right out. So, as you guys can see, that copper positive post just popped out. And there she is with the 2-piece insulator. Now here's the extra stainless steel positive post they included along with the 2-piece extra insulators. What we're going to do is we're going to pop the larger square on there first and then the smaller on there second. The first one and then the second one. Next step, press fit the positive post, a stainless steel positive post with the 2 peak insulators on there into the deck, like so. Insert the copper 510 pin into the 510 connection, screw that sucker in, and the extra stainless steel positive post is installed. Screw the stainless steel screws into the negative post, the second one. And now we're in stainless steel mode, baby. Okay, so here's one last look at the deck, just all around. Now look at those post holes, 3 millimeters in diameter. Whoa, whoppers. And as you guys can see, the negative posts are milled into the deck. Now here's the deck. Depth-wise, I would say it's about average. Compared to a lot of these RDAs out in the market now, it's about 5 millimeters deep. You got those whopper screws, those whopper flathead screws to tighten down and make a connection with all your leads. I mean, you can easily tighten them with your fingers. You got these double O-rings down here to fasten on your outer barrel. Outer barrel fastens onto the deck. Top cap / inner sleeve / drip tip fasten into the outer barrel. And boom, you got your Doge V2 RDA all assembled. Let's go ahead and take her back to FaceTime and vape on her some more, baby. So what I've done is I pulled that dual coil out, put my preferred 26 gauge single coil build in here. The build is a 1.15 ohm build. You got her vaping at 22 watts. And I mean, you see it. I don't even need to explain. That's in single coil mode. That's a about a 1.2 ohm build, only at 22 watts. I'm getting killer flavor, the vapor reduction. Booyah. Never thought I'd be enjoying this device as much as I have. I mean, when I first received this device, I was like, oh shit, it's going to be like the Doge version 1. I just assumed, and you know what assuming does? It makes an ass out of you and me, but I assumed it was going to be garbage, just like the V1, and I was like, oh shit. But I received it, and I was like, whoo, I vaped it, and I was like, whoo. And I mean, it's been a great experience, is what I'm trying to say. If you're looking for a competition RDA, you want to fog it, you want to chuck it, you want to blow it, this is a great device. If you're looking for an RDA, you not only want to do that, but you also looking for the flavor, this is for you. It is a competition RDA / a flavor chasing RDA, both in one. And there are a few others out there like this. I mean, the Mutation X version 2 and the Infinite CLT version 2, very similar in style to this device. I actually prefer this over those two. This gives me the flavor that the Infinite CLT version 2 gives me, but you get more airflow than that device. And with this, I get the airflow that I do with the MX or the Mutation X version 2. Get the same airflow and I get better flavor production off this than I do the Mutation X version 2. So yeah, I prefer this over those two for sure. And that leads me to talk about the adjustable airflow. Love this adjustable airflow. I mean, it's easy peasy. What a sleazy. I mean, that's how easy it is. The tolerances from the inner sleeve to the outer barrel, when you twist it, tolerances are great. It's just tight enough, yet it's just loose enough. It's super easy to adjust when it's on my device, and I can't say that for some of these other RDAs out there. Love the air injection hole in the top cap. I love that thing. I do notice that it does keep the vapor cooler, and I also notice this. I think it has something to do with the flavor production. I think it does give me or contributes to better flavor production. Another pro is you can not only run this thing in single coil, but you can run it in dual or quad coil mode. The drip tip at the top, the built-in drip tip is massive, 14 millimeters in diameter, massive, massive, and I just love the looks of this thing. It caught my eye. And then there's another big pro, and that is that you can interchange the positive post. So it comes with a copper, a C110 copper, like I mentioned in the close-ups, which is supposedly lead-free, but I don't feel comfortable using copper. So they came out with another option. You can use a stainless steel. You can swap it out. You can swap out the copper for the stainless steel for the copper. Big plus. The post holes on the deck are massive. I mean, you can use 20 gauge, 22 gauge, 24 gauge with ease. With ease. This is 8 22 millimeter drippers. Fit on all my mods, all my mechanical mods. Looks at tips on the mechanical mods that are 22 millimeters in width. And it also fits down, fits flush on all of them. Makes a connection with everything. The juice well on the deck is nice and deep. I mean, I could fit a good amount of cotton in there. I could fit a good amount of juice in there. And I also almost forgot, the screws. The flathead screws are enormous. I mean, I can hand tighten them. Another thing, the tolerances of the parts, how the parts fit together. I mean, they fit together great. Like I mentioned, the inner sleeve and the outer sleeve, the adjustable airflow, it's nice and tight, but it's also not too loose. It's just the perfect amount of restrictiveness. Okay, and also the way that the barrel fits over the deck is perfect. It's not too tight, it's not too loose, it's just right. It's not going anywhere, but at the same time, I can take this sucker off with ease, pop it back on there with ease. Booyah. And then the last pro that I found for this device is price point. I mean, hell, $35, super competitive, especially for the way this thing performs and the way this thing is made. Now on a machining, quality control, etc. Rating this thing from a 1 to 10 scale, I give this a good 6.5, 7 out of a 10. There are a few scratches on there, but you guys saw in the close-ups. This thing's made pretty well, man. Made pretty well, especially for the price. Yeah, 6.5, 7 out of a 10. Oh yeah, and as far as machine oil goes, there was a little bit of machine oil on there, a little bit of machine oil on the post, on the deck, okay, inside the top cap, but one good wash and it was good to go. Okay, wasn't the worst by any means, but still got to be stated there was a little bit of machine oil on there. The only con that I found for this device when I'm running this thing in dual coil mode, okay, super sub ohming to me, super sub ohming around 0.2 ohms, but yeah, 0.2 ohms or 0.3 ohms, it still gets super hot. This device gets hot, and compared to the V1, I know it had those fins really kept the device cooler longer. This doesn't have the fins, and because of that, it's going to get hotter on you. So got to be mentioned as a con. So these are the shops that are carrying this bad boy. 1, Grand Vapor Station, 2, Epic Vape, and then 3, Vapor DNA. I'm sure there's a lot more, but those are the 3 shops that sent this bad boy to me to review for you guys. But yeah, Grand Vapor Station is selling this thing for $45, and you got Epic Vape, and they're selling theirs for $39.99, and then you got Vapor DNA, and they're also selling theirs for $39.99. The big answer and the big question of the day, if I lost this thing today, would I go back tomorrow and buy another one? The answer is definitely loving it. This is Rip Trippers, and remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.